Well, anyone who's traveled by air lately understands what a mess it's been, but possibly no one knows that better than the men and women flying the planes. The pilots of WestJet Airlines have been in contract talks with management about better working conditions, and those talks have dragged on. The Airline Pilots Association, or ALPA, is the union representing WestJet pilots, and Captain Bernard Lewall heads ALPA Canada's WestJet contingent. He joins me now from Vancouver to talk about what's happening over at WestJet and how this could affect potential air travel in the near future. Captain Lewall, thanks so much for joining me today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. Thanks, Jeanette.
Absolutely. Okay, so my understanding is that ALPA launched a strike authorization vote Monday. Can you maybe break down for me what led up to pilots taking this action? What are your grievances?
Okay, well, we started negotiating with the company on September the 2nd of 2022 last year. And it's been 6 months of negotiations, and basically the talks have bogged down. And getting into the actual grievances, there's kind of three primary areas that we're having difficulties with the company. The first is job protection. Right now, we have two different companies within the WestJet group of companies that are flying 737s, Boeing 737s. A third company, Sunwing, the acquisition has been announced. And so that would be three that are flying under the WestJet group of companies, but all for different wages and working conditions. So that's the first grievance. We need that fixed. The second is pay and compensation. We're about 50% under the North American average. That gap has to narrow. And finally, we just need a better work-life balance. So less fatiguing scheduling and more acknowledgement that a lot of our pilots are commuters, and right now they actually would like us to work 1 or 2 days more a month. We're already away from our families for over half the month. So those are the three big sticking points.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so the union has been in talks for a while now with the company, but how long exactly? So you mentioned it's been going on since September, so 6 months. And before that, was it kind of just boiling up to it? Like, how long have these bad working conditions happened for?
Well, we're currently under an arbitrated contract that was given to us in 2018. So it's been a bit of a 4-year process where we've been under those conditions, and our pilots need those issues addressed now. And what we really want is the company to come back to the table and negotiate in good faith. One thing that I can add is that our pilots are actually talking with or speaking with their feet right now. Back in 2022, we lost approximately 240 pilots from the WestJet group of companies. That most of them went to other airlines north or south of the border. This year alone, February, we had 42 pilots leave. And I just got the numbers for March, and it's approximately 50 pilots. Our CEO keeps talking about it being a growth story here at WestJet. If he truly wants a growth story, we need him to come to the table, negotiate in good faith, so that our pilots view WestJet again as a career destination, one where they want to come, they want to gain experience, and then they want to stay.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of low morale if you've got that many pilots leaving.
I will say when I started 18 years ago, WestJet was a career destination. It's a place pilots wanted to come and wanted to retire at. And that has changed somewhat over the last 18 years. We need that to change.
That's really unfortunate. What exactly is WestJet telling you regarding what you've been trying to come to the table with?
Really, they haven't been moving very much at all. They say they need they say that they need the ability to do what they're doing right now, without regard to the fact that what they're doing right now isn't working. We're actually losing, as I said, more pilots than we can hire. And the pilots that we're losing are the experienced pilots that we want to keep.
That is absolutely unfortunate. So my understanding is it all kind of came to a head last Friday when WestJet pilots picketed outside the company's headquarters. Am I right?
Yeah, so on Friday, we had an informational picket outside the WestJet headquarters. And the idea there was just to show the company that this pilot group is united, and we have the resolve that is required to bring them back to the negotiating table. So it was done on very short notice. We gave our pilots about 2 weeks heads up on it, and we had about 250 pilots show up. So it was absolutely a great display of unity, and especially every pilot that was there was on a scheduled day off. We made sure that no one was supposed to be flying that day. And I think management has heard it. And along with that, that same day, we announced the strike vote would be opening on the Monday.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah, is this when the decision to launch that strike vote happened? And I was also going to ask you, what was the reaction from headquarters to all of this?
So far, I haven't heard anything from the headquarters. There was a few quotes that they were quoted in the paper as saying that they didn't agree with our stance, but I haven't actually had direct talks with them yet. We did go back to the negotiating room yesterday, so we are still in negotiations. And again, I'm hopeful that the strike vote and that show of unity last Friday, I'm very hopeful that will bring the management back to the table with a renewed vigor, one where they have the actual ability to make the changes that need to be changed.
Maybe explain the strike action vote a little bit. So it was launched on Monday, and my understanding is this will go on for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, so the strike action vote, or the strike authorization ballot, will be open until the 18th of this month. After that, the timelines that we've already started back, we entered conciliation last month. Conciliation goes on for 60 days, which takes us till April 24th, and then we enter a cooling off period. The cooling off period is 21 days. At the end of that 21 days, the company is able to lock us out, or we are able to engage in work action up to and including a strike. So currently, on the 18th of this month, we'll get the results of the strike authorization ballot, but that just sets in play that on the 16th of May, work action can happen from either side. And you might notice that's right before the long weekend in May.
Yes.
And it could go into the summer. So we do want our passengers to be cognizant of this. We don't want them to be taken unawares as we get closer to that date.
Yes, I was just going to say, so like this possible strike is looming. What happens if it actually does? What does this mean for passengers who have booked travel on WestJet over that weekend and beyond?
Well, ultimately, your pilots want to serve our passengers. We want to be there flying the passengers to the destinations that they've booked. And we're hopeful again that the company will come back to the table and negotiate with us in good faith. That's what we need from them. But yeah, at this point in time, that's not happening, and I just need passengers to know the possible ramifications of what's going on now.
Wow. Any word from WestJet to the passengers? Would you know at all?
Not yet, other than they have said that this is just a normal part of the bargaining process. We don't agree with that. We don't. This was our last course of action, that where we had to call for a strike authorization ballot. I don't think it's a normal part of bargaining.
Right. Well, let's hope this doesn't go on for too long. Is the union willing to come to any compromise with the company, or vice versa? What have you heard?
No, absolutely. We're here to negotiate in good faith, and part of negotiating in good faith is to go back and forth. We do want to work with the company.
Yeah, and that's just it, because you said it yourself. I mean, pilots, you guys were born to fly. That's your passion. You don't want to be out there pounding the pavement with the picket signs. And you love your passengers, and I'm sure that you loved the company at one point, and you just want to see this resolved probably as much as anybody.
Absolutely. The pilots here, we have bought into the growth story that our CEO says WestJet is. And we want to be a part of that, but we need the company to come and address our concerns so that our pilots stop leaving and going to other airlines. Truly, this is a time to make a contract that is good for both the pilots and the company and the passengers.
Yeah, you had mentioned that WestJet was one of the lower paying one. How is that possible?
Well, it's just the North American average has gone up over the last few years, and WestJet we've stayed where we are, and so that does have to be accounted for,
Yeah.
and we've again got to negotiate a more of an industry standard contract here.
My understanding too is that other crew members, such as flight attendants, they belong to a different union, correct?
That's right. The
And
flight attendants are with QP.
yeah, but they're with QP, right? And my understanding also is that they're in full support of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I do believe our CEO tried to drive a wedge between the pilots and the flight attendants of the other groups a couple weeks ago in an internal video, where he said he would rather park planes than pay the pilots what they're asking for. And I think that was a bit of he was trying to drive a wedge between the pilots and the other working groups. It didn't work. No, the flight attendants are fully in support of us.
Yeah, probably not a wise thing for an airline to say that they'd rather park planes than fly them.
No,
Yeah.
when you're paying $40 million for the aircraft, the last thing you want to do is have that sitting on the tarmac. You need that in the air generating revenue. And that's what the pilots want as well.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Captain Lewall, that I didn't ask?
I'll reiterate that the strike or a lockout is not something that we look forward to, but it is a part of the Canadian Labor Code that we may need to take advantage of to ensure that the company comes to the table and negotiates with us in good faith. That's all we're asking for.
Captain Lewall, thanks so much for joining me today. I wish you the best with all of this, and hopefully some sort of an agreement is reached soon.
Thank you very much, Jeanette, for your time.
That was Captain Bernard Lewall, a pilot with WestJet Airlines and head of the Airline Pilots Association Canada's WestJet contingent.